Okay, you're good.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Stories from the Porch. This is actually the sixth summer that we have done this. The Stories from the Porch actually started as a side project from another project I did called Porch Fest, which was music on front porches in downtown Niagara Falls, and that started in 2016. We've done a couple of those. That's a lot of work, and I went back to school. So these are the stories from the porch are a little bit more manageable, and so we've carried on with that. And we have had so many amazing people speak on this porch. Several of them are sitting here tonight in the audience. And so thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it. I would like to I should introduce myself. My name's Shelley Glicka. This is my house. My partner Will is sitting right here. And together we've lived here for 12 years. As I said, this is our sixth summer for Stories from the Porch, and we've only got a few this year, so I know it's going to just be amazing. I want to thank Justin for coming today. Yay! And just for everybody watching online, Justin is an amazing advocate for the LGBTQIA community. Does all sorts of amazing things locally, as well as the founder of Rise Against Bullying, and partners with Kids Helpful. So I'm going to turn it over to you, and we really look forward to hearing what you have to say tonight.
Thank you so much. Here you are.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Justin. For those who don't know, I am the founder of a global campaign called Rise Against Bullying. I'm also a national ambassador to Kids Helpful. When I started about 2012, I was one person tackling hundreds of people, dealing with emails, trying to help any person that I can with offering resources and tools and advice. And I just want to give a little shout out to my hubby over there and my two children for being able to now help me be able to make a difference out in this world. When I was young, in grade 8, I had questioned myself and I was very unsure on who I was. So I had some friends in school and I thought they were my friends. So in grade 8 of elementary school, the year before going into high school, I had told my friend a secret. And this secret was that I had a crush on a boy in my class. Now, when it was near the end of summer, and we were actually going on to a big year trip. It was a Camp Wanawin trip. I got, unfortunately, asked not to go to this trip, and it all started from telling my friend a secret that I had a crush. So when I went to school in grade 8, it was near the summer, about to start high school, and I seen the awkwardness. I seen the difference of my friends. All my male friends that I once had disappeared, and I only had a couple friends. So it was really, really awkward and different for me. But at that time too, I really didn't know who I was myself. So when I told this person that I had a crush, little did I know that high school was going to be a huge different feeling than what I expected. When I went in grade 9, I was nervous. I was scared. And little did Justin know that he was going to be a big topic without him even knowing. When I was in school, I'll never forget the first day of my class. It was phys ed. It was gym. And I was late, of course. I was trying to fix my hair, make sure everything was perfect before I went to school. And I remember opening up those gymnasium doors and having all the students like you all are here just sitting. And the whispering, the staring, the awkward moments. And I remember walking in the gym and looking around while people were pointing at me and whispering and talking that I felt like everyone already knew who I was before I even got to introduce myself. So it was very, very tough for myself to be able to take this all in, this anxiety, this nervousness. Going to high school, that's a very big thing for many of us. And I went from being very excited to being very scared and nervous. But that big sign of walking into that gym, seeing the people whispering, the laughing, and I went in with pink hot pants like bright pink skinny jeans. As you see, I'm wearing sparkles. It's okay to be different. If you like something, wear it, embrace it. And as this time has come, I've had to learn to love myself. High school was very tough for me. I didn't have the opportunity to actually come out because when I told this friend that I thought was a friend, rumors fled the school like wildfire. And I had a lot of questions from a lot of people that I had to answer. With starting grade 9, it was very, very, very tough for me. I have a learning disability, and I was also put in a program called GSD. GSD is a program for students that maybe aren't able to concentrate. Maybe they have ADHD like myself because I can't stay still for nothing. But there was no changes in my school. So it was the same selected students with period 1, 2, 3, and 4, so meaning French, science, math, and English. But it was the same students for grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12. There really was not much of a change. But trying to find who I was and trying to have this confidence, to have this bravery, to feel like I could fit in with others. And no matter where I went in my school, I was always turned away. Bullying can be very hurtful. Words can be very hurtful. And I will be discussing about homophobic bullying. Every day, going to school, opening the classroom doors, walking down my hallway, or even running from school to get to my home, I was reminded constantly from many students and received the lack of love from many of them, that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't worth enough, that I didn't belong here, that I was not meant to be who I was, and that people did not like who I was. It was really tough being a young little boy, telling your friends and having the confidence of, I have a crush, and my parents did not know much of anything. I kept this all in, and I kept even the stuff at school that was happening to me all in. Grade 9 was that exciting year for me. I found a boyfriend. I thought that me and them were going to just hold hands in the community. I was going to bring him to my school. And little did I know that by just me loving somebody, that I ended up putting a big target board over my head. A year of torment, a year of reminders, a year of being beaten up, years of being beaten up, chased, attacked. And when I would go home, computers were just starting. And I had this account. Everyone knows what Facebook is. I think we're live on Facebook now.
We sure are.
When I had a social media account, it was called MySpace. You were able to create this cool layout, have music, and I used to call myself Mr. J-Face. I thought I was so cool, being myself online, wearing makeup, having a picture of kissing another boy. And while having this channel, this platform, I had somebody for years that would tell me every day that they were from Niagara Falls, and if they ever see me walking around the street, that they were going to beat me up and that they were going to dearrange my face. Threats, attacks, and everything at a very young age I had to deal with. And I really, really wished I had that confidence in myself to be able to reach out to my parents about what was actually happening at school and what was actually going on in my mind. So I started reaching out to my student youth counselor in school. And I was so thankful that I was able to walk in that office, tears running down my face, feeling like this, and having someone tell me that it's okay. Growing up in a school, being the only open gay male was very tough for me. I was in an open relationship at this time in grade 9. And when I say open, I mean I was in a relationship with just one boy, but we were open to the world. So when I started going to community events, the Fort Erie Friendship Festival, I started realizing that people were not okay with this. And I used to sit and wish every day, can we just live in a world where two girls can love two girls and two boys can love two boys, and just have the community all around, just be able to love who you love. And I didn't think it was wrong, but many other people did. In grade 10, I started dealing with my own personal mental health. I started feeling, hi baby, wherever you are. I started feeling very, very, very low of myself. I ended up leaving this relationship that I was in. This was my first love. And this person I thought was my world. With all the problems that was going on with me, I didn't stop for a second to think what they were going through. Not only was I being attacked and dealing with a lot of hardship in 2 different schools, 2 different cities, they were as well. Because Justin and this person were open. As time came on, I ended up feeling very sad. And I would have paid $1 million if I had it, just to be able to be with that person when I was in high school. Because my heart was broken. With me being in the same program, with the same students, it was very tough for me to not only concentrate, but to do my work. It was already tough as it was with having ADHD and myself not being able to concentrate. And this group of boys in my class, I think they made it a mission every day to poke me, to tease me, to trip me, to ridicule me in front of the class. I have so many stories to share, and in grade 10, we had this co-op student. When you're in grade 12, you end up doing co-op, and you can end up going into other classrooms, or you can go into businesses or out in the community and do work. And this co-op student was an artist, so he was in part of this art program that I was also in, so art class. And if anyone knows who Fruit Loops, the big bird, I think his name was Toucan Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Justin was turned into Justin Toucan Sam, and the picture was really beautiful, but it was a mockery of my nose. And I knew as I was growing up that my nose kept getting bigger. And just to have that adult grade 12 and me being a little kid and having that mockery and that laughing with this group of boys, of them kind of poking me a little, it really, really just ended up hurting my feelings. But I learned that no matter where I was in my school, that people didn't really have much niceness to say about myself. High school for me was a little different because I was unable to join the talent shows. I wasn't able to join the sports, volleyball, soccer, because I was too afraid. If people were already being so mean to me now, why would I try to do a sport if I didn't know how, and to get made fun of even more? My dream was to go on a talent show. Every year there was this big show that people can sing, people can dance, if you know how to juggle, and I always sat back, always wishing that I could just get up there and just do my thing. When that bell would ring, grade 10, grade 9, grade 10, and grade 11, I had to make sure when school ended at 2:25 that Justin was to leave the building by 2:15. Because if Justin did not leave by 2:15, Justin unfortunately had a lot of kids, that used to chase him all the time. And hiding in people's backyards just to go home was not right. And it was very scary for myself because not only was my safety at risk, but I didn't know where to turn to for help. I didn't have that safe place. I didn't have that go-to place except for home at that time. I did have a lovely student counselor where I knew that I could go into her office. But at the end of the day, at the end of school, she was already at another school dealing with other students. And the amount of times that I felt that I reported the incidents and that having a fruit basket with specialties made with bananas and everything given to me, every day it seemed like I'd rush to the office and I'd report something that was happening with me. But it seemed the more that I went and I reached out and said what was going on, I ended up becoming the issue. I ended up becoming the problem because, Justin, you're doing something that's making these students attack you. You need to change yourself. You need to stop being so flamboyant in the hallways. You need to kind of put yourself together, and you need to change yourself in ways so people do not target you. And I didn't know how to change myself. I didn't know how to not be me. I woke up every day. I'd grab my straightener, make sure my hair was so straight. I'd make sure that I had the most colorful clothes. And I just loved everything that I picked. But when I went to school, and I remember now my mother saying, Justin, as I left my house, she'd yell, Justin. I'm like, yes, Mom? Why are you wearing your pink pants? Or why are you wearing your yellow pants? Because I like them, Mom. Okay, Justin, you do you, you know. But my mom, too, was like, she says it now, you're very special. You're very unique. And my grandmother used to always say that I was special. Now I understand why. Because I dress in a way that makes me feel comfortable. It might not look comfortable to you guys seeing the sequins. It is sometimes scratchy, but to me that's comfort. School, though, was very tough. And when I started finding who I was and being proud of who I was, people ended up supporting me. I started having my friends in my school standing up for me. From being one single person in the school that didn't know anyone, I ended up having 20, maybe 30 students as well that were with me and being able to help support me. And then I realized that all 35 of these students in my school were also getting bullied. I was in a program, like I mentioned, called GSD, and all of us had nicknames. My one friend was called Rat Face, my other friend was called Mole, I was Toucan Sam. The jokes aside, my friend may have had a tiny mole, and my friend may have not have had the perfect teeth, and I unfortunately may have had the biggest nose in my school, but I definitely could smell when something's not kind, great. I just learned that the way that you treat people is the way that you want to be treated. In Niagara Falls, I mentioned that I used to get messages all the time on my MySpace account. This boy would message me constantly, and he, for some reason, was obsessed with who I was. Did not like me, did not appreciate me, absolutely thought I was disgusting. And I would read his messages, I wouldn't respond. And there was times that he would come to my school, and I ended up having to be put in a room in the principal's office with a little bit of a lockdown because my safety was at risk. My school, I think everybody can relate in a sense that as years come on, things change. The laws change. We talk about being inclusive. We talk about equality. We now have more safe places in GSAs and schools now than there was for me when I was a kid. It was very, very difficult just trying to have this self-esteem and knowing that someone was out there for me. So I had another friend. I mentioned before that I had a friend that told my whole school of my secret of having a crush. And by telling my friend that I had a crush, that person was no longer my friend. And I was just kind of left by myself. So as I was in high school, I started trying to make friends. I tried to fit in. I tried to be like all of you, a person. And this one girl had a great setup for me. In Dark Cloud, the high cost of cyberbullying, I was just featured last year in a documentary that has over 1 million views. It features a story with Amanda Todd. Amanda Todd is a 15-year-old girl out in British Columbia that unfortunately took her life due to bullying. I am very, very close with Carol Todd, and thanks to Carol Todd, she had shined some light on me being a Niagara Regional resident. This boy, though, and my friend had taken me all the way from Fort Erie, Ontario, all the way to Niagara Falls. I thought we were going to hang out with a couple of her friends. And little did Justin know that he was going to go face to face with his biggest, most bully in the world. The person that was cyberbullying me for years, that's been trying to get a hold of me, is right in front of me. And I remember my ringtone back in the day when we used to have the funky ringtones on our phone. I think I had Soldier Boy at the time. But my ringtone popped, and this kid said to me, if I hear your phone one more time, I'm going to punch you. So I remember I turned down my volume on my ringtone, but then someone called, and that ringtone popped up again. 2 seconds later, I got popped. And now I'm sitting with my friend, the person that brought me to Niagara Falls. We just took the transit all the way here. I took all the money that I had, and I think it was like $56. So a 15-year-old is $56. That's a lot of money. Like, I can get a hotel, I can buy all the candy in the world. No. So I ended up meeting this person face to face. And as we were walking through Niagara Falls, we ended up leaving this house. I just got hit, and I wanted to go home, but there was nowhere to go home. I was with my friend, the person that I was supposed to trust, that was supposed to be there for me. And as we were walking around, it's actually close to this area. It's a highway coming from, say, Port Colborne, Fort Erie, St. Catharines. You pull in, and there's a Subway shop, and then there's Victoria Avenue close by. I might be saying it wrong, but there's this big building that's a Subway shop, and you're going by the 420 highway, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Where the McDonald's is,
Yeah.
yes. So we kept walking. It was like 35 minutes. They kept walking around, and this one boy that was with us, he left. He didn't want to be where we were, and that should have been my judgment right away, that I should have went with him. Because instead of him standing up for me, he knew it was going to happen, and he left. I remember walking up this dead-end road, seeing a fence in a road, and as we walked down to this dead-end road, my friend and this gentleman was up ahead. And I was trying to speed up to them, like, why are you all walking so fast? Like, wait for me. And we turned, and there was more talking. And then they all said that they were going to stop at the Subway place and just stop for a minute. And I remember I walked up there, and I'm like, I thought we were going to Midway. I thought we were going to Clifton Hill. We're in Niagara Falls. Where's the falls? I want to see something exciting. And unfortunately, in a blink of an eye, all I remember was my head being smashed repeatedly into a pole. And I remember getting up and just looking right at my friend and saying, is anyone going to do anything? No? They're just going to sit here while this guy was doing this to me. So I ended up having the courage, while he kept hitting me, that I stood up and I ran around the building. I jumped over the fence. I'm 15 years old in a city 45 minutes away from home with no cell phone, no friends that I know around in this neighborhood, no connections. I did know, actually, because someone is here, I did know of one place that I could have went, but it was in downtown near La Cocos. My cousin used to bring me to Niagara Falls as well, and this amazing, lovely lady named Jennifer always welcomed me, and Alan and her family always welcomed me into their home. But I knew where I was definitely very far away. I didn't even know where I was. And I remember when I jumped over this fence and I ran down the street. I actually ran straight, and this was an oncoming highway. And I remember I tripped and I fell, and there was cars. The car stopped. My shoe was on the road, and I just kept going down the street. I remember when I got down to the street, I hit around the corner in someone's brick house. It was a house, and then driveway, and there was a shed. And I remember looking around, and I seen him trying to find me, and I hid in this person's shed. Well, this person's now wondering, who's in my shed? Why is someone on my property? So when she came into the shed, I thought it was him. And I was so scared. I remember crying and crying and crying. And I remember it was daytime, and time this woman came into her shed, it was nighttime. I told her what happened. I told her I didn't have a cell phone. She had asked me what my phone number was. I only knew my cell phone, not my house number. But at the time when I would call, no one was able to answer. My mother worked 2 jobs, and so did my stepfather. My mother has been a single parent for a very long time, raising 2 boys. She's always worked very hard. 2 jobs, one was at the Fort Erie racetrack, and then at nighttime she was working at Golden Nugget Bingo. So my mom made sure that she did everything to provide for us 2 boys. Living as a low-income family as well, my mother did everything she could to be able to manage with the house, with the bills. And when I had $50, I think it was $56 in my pocket, this lady had called the police so I could speak to the police to explain to them what had just happened to me. When I spoke to this police officer, at the time I heard of a thing called speedy, cheap rides, speedy. And they weren't legal back then. So when I told this officer that I need a ride, I need to call Speedy, and he said, you're not calling a Speedy and getting into some random person's car. We want to make sure you're going in a taxi, so it's verified, licensed, and that you go home safely. When I took my taxi ride all the way from Niagara Falls to Fort Erie, that cost over $50, it was like $60. All this money that I thought that I had, that I thought that I was so rich, that I was going to use to spend with my friends, I spent all my money for my ride home that day. And after 7 years, I think I got a memory 7 years ago, a few days ago, was the first time that I came back to Niagara Falls. I stood away from this city for so long. I was so afraid that I was going to see this person again on the streets. Even still to this day, standing here, you just look, because that person was the most terrifying person in my life. Now, when we talk about cyberbullying, we talk about hurtful words, we talk about bullying, we talk about put downs. But when your life is in jeopardy and you don't take it serious, and you don't reach out into ways of making a police report. So when this incident did happen to me, that was my first police report. So after all these emails and everything that I was receiving as well, that just became my first report. It really bothers me so much that I wasn't able to see all my friends in Niagara Falls. When I would come here, and again I would visit a lovely lady in her home, I was able to hang out with my cousin and her friends and my friends as well. And all those people I wasn't able to see for many years. They had asked, they had invited, they had wanted me to come. I just said no. I did not want round 2. But it seemed no matter any event that I attended, as being the little boy that I was, that one incident that stuck in my head became more. I went to Teen Center dance. I remember a place called the Hub. I think the Hub is located in Welland, or it's in Port Colborne. And I remember sitting there. I remember too, it was a couple months after the incident. And I remember sitting there with my one friend, Harley. I'll mention her name because she is my best friend, and she's been there since day 1. And I remember sitting against this wall. And these group of girls, they looked like Mean Girls. If you ever watched Mean Girls, and they walked in a group, they walked up to me, and this girl just booted me, just for no reason. And I just really started not liking myself. This is where I'm talking about mental health. Looking in the mirror, not liking the reflection, listening to people telling me I wasn't good enough, wasn't worth enough, that there became a moment in my life that I tried to make myself disappear. It's not a proud moment, something that a lot of people don't know about, especially my two little ones. But when people push you to the point of not feeling great, you have to realize that there's people out there that love you, support you, and care about you. And all this time, when I felt like I was so alone, sitting in my room, so upset, my mother was so uninformed with everything that was going on because I didn't have the confidence in myself to tell my mom, Mom, I'm gay. And Mom, I'm getting bullied at school. And Mom, I want to drop out. And Mom, I don't like breathing anymore. I just don't want to do this. Homophobia and transphobia is not okay. Words do hurt, especially with myself growing up. I experienced this. I experienced being different and being put in this category with a huge label on my head of unwelcome. It took several years for myself to be able to gain this confidence, to gain this courage, to use my voice to speak up for those that are voiceless. At this time, I felt like I didn't have a voice. I felt like I didn't matter. And I ended up calling Kids Help Phone. When I called Kids Help Phone, I thought that was my last phone call. And when I called, I remember so clear of this woman telling me, it's okay that you're gay. I have no problem with that. Do you love yourself, she said. And I said, no, yes, maybe, not too sure. People don't love me, so why should I love me? And she said, the reason you need to love yourself is you need to put yourself first. And she told me these words of, it's going to get better, to reach out for help, that people are out there that care. And that's all it took from this downpour emotions of something that I would honestly regret, to just having someone be there for me to tell me that it's okay. Little did Justin know, by reaching out to Kids Help Phone, Kids Help Phone in a sense has saved my life. They were there for me in a crisis. They were there for me in a time of need. And I'm going to pull out this piece of paper. For anyone that is out there, kids and adults, kids, I have called Kids Help Phone, and it will get better, and there are people there that are willing to listen to you. Kids Help Phone is available 24/7. It is anonymous, it's confidential, and you can call 1-800-668-6868, and you can also text the word CONNECT to 686868. And with this pandemic, a lot of us have been dealing with mental health, financial challenges, trying to just meet the ends meet with our bills, not the lack of love from people, the opinions, not being able to touch and see your family. This year has been very tough for many people. And just to have a live audience, it's been over a year, 7 months, maybe almost 2 years that I've been in person speaking. So I'm very honored to be here as well. And adults, you're not alone. If anyone feels that they are blue, that they need someone to speak to, if you're having a bad day, it's okay. It's okay to not feel okay. Can we say that together?
It's okay
not to feel
okay.
Adults, you can text wellness to 741-741, and within a few minutes, someone will be there instantly texting you. It could be about a breakup. It could be about a family issue. You can be under a lot of stress. Maybe you're trying to do your best and it feels like everything's collapsing. There are places out there that are there for you. And to sit here to say that I'm one of Kids Help Phone's national ambassadors, from once being a person that used their phone provider, from not feeling this worth of my own self, I am so happy to be able to pass on these resources and tools and information to all of you. When I started Rise Against Bullying, it was never about me. To stand here today, before I even came, I was nervous, fearful, and it happens every time because I use my voice to speak up for those that are voiceless. And when I started Rise Against Bullying, I didn't want any 13-year-old Justin to go through what I went through. Homophobia and bullying that has impacted my life has made me educated and aware of the situations within our community that we need to stand together with each other and love each other and support each other. Because us as a community, that becomes a supportive base. It's just like this home, welcoming me here, for me to be able to speak with all of you. I find that it's very important. I've had the opportunities of traveling all across Canada, from a little boy that never believed in himself, to having people believe in me, giving me an opportunity to travel across Canada. Literally, we'd be in Nova Scotia speaking to kindergartens all the way to grade 8, and the next day they're telling me that we're going to PEI. We go to PEI, and now we're going to Ottawa in 4 days. It was so inspiring, so amazing. Lovely lady named Saida and her beautiful wife, Kazat, have believed in me, and that experience of feeling that worth, sharing my story with students, and then after leaving, having them write to me. I didn't realize in 2011, which I didn't mention, I had uploaded a story on YouTube called Who Am I? I'm Just Like You. I uploaded a cue card video a year before Amanda Todd did her cue card story. When I posted my story, I posted it as I didn't have a voice, and that my voice didn't matter. When I shared my story, within the next day, I had thousands of views. But not only thousands of views, I had thousands of emails of parents, of kids, of adults reaching out to me with their stories and their situations. And then I started using my own email and my own personal Facebook as this own crisis line, giving advice that I didn't even know how to help you. But I did anything I could to think, what if I put her shoes in my boots? How would that make me feel? And that's how I started directing and offering advice. And it started becoming very overwhelming. I'm one person. One person can make a difference, but it takes us together to change the world. And I have an amazing partner and 2 beautiful girls. Right now I'm accepting help, and same with my mother-in-law and my family. I used to think I can conquer this world by myself. But when you have 100 people reaching out to you for help, I am one person. So I guarantee any of you here have probably messaged me on Facebook before, and you probably got a response. Maybe you haven't got a response, and you thought, he didn't message me. I get a lot of messages, and I try very, very hard to be able to make sure that what's being sent is being heard. And this is where, by sharing my story, I knew I needed to create something. And this is where I created Rise Against Bullying. I ended up creating a campaign to be able to create a supportive base, and it's an ongoing global campaign. As like a safe place, a place where I can shine light on people in our community, people that are making a difference, and be able to not only use this platform for myself, but for everyone else. Everyone has a story to share. And that's, at the end of the day, what I would like to do, is be able to share people's stories, be able to shine light on people. I am no bigger or better than anyone that is here. I am just like you, a person, a human, a person with feelings. We all have good days and bad days, and that is okay. And I never could imagine from starting this campaign to being a Kids Helpful National Ambassador, to traveling all across Canada, and then constantly being asked during Pride Month and World Mental Health Day, taking the opportunity and going on national television and being able to share my story, and then having the community support me, and then the newspapers writing articles wanting to shine light on such a horrible thing that has happened, but taking it into a positive. Literally taking a negative situation and turn it into a positive. It takes us all together to be able to build each other up. And I never believed in myself so much. And I know one of you or some of you probably have self-doubt. You try really hard to get your voice heard, create something for the community. Sometimes you might feel like people aren't listening, but we are listening. We are here. And sometimes in our heads, we don't feel like we're good enough. And that is okay. It is okay not to feel okay. And it's gotten to the point for myself that I have to realize that I am human, I am not perfect, and I have yet to have met a perfect person. Has anyone here met a perfect person?
No.
No? I have not met a perfect person yet. And I don't think any of us are perfect. But we learn. We learn, we grow, and I'm just so honored to be standing here speaking with all of you. My life went from very negative to being very positive. And if it wasn't for all of you standing together, supporting each other and loving each other, this is what creates a community. Seeing all of you here. Letters by Justin. For several years, I did an article with the newspaper, I think it was last year, and they're like, this is your 2 years of doing letters. Like, yes. No, Justin, you've been doing it for about 7. I just never had that, I'm doing 1,000 letters. So last year, I ended up doing 1,000 Christmas cards, and I sent them all around the world. Russia, Japan, Netherlands, and the postage. When I went to send one letter to the Netherlands, I had to do international stamp, which ends up being like $3 just for a Christmas card. So I still wanted to make it that mission, especially with this pandemic, of being able to write to people, to be able to tell others that they're not alone in this world. Without being able to see your family, your friends, not being able to go to work, with the stay-home order, I knew I needed to do something. So with Letters by Justin, now every Christmas, and even throughout the year, but Christmas, I do 1,000 letters, and they're handwritten. They're handwritten letters. They're personalized. They're not just a Merry Christmas to you. I ask people, would you like a Christmas card? And people tell me their stories of why they would like one. And not only am I sitting there emailing the person back, I'm then getting their information, grabbing their address, putting it on the envelope, making sure it's the person, and personalizing the letter to them as if I was speaking to them. And that way that person has that letter, and it kind of helps me, because I remember when I was a kid, when my grandparents would send cards, I used to get so excited going into a mailbox and finding a card that was for me. And isn't it a great feeling to get a letter in the mail instead of a bill telling you that you owe something? Because usually we see mail and we're just we already know, we don't even open it, because when it comes to the time we can pay it, that's when we can pay it. Life is a journey. And I didn't realize though this year, after I did 813, and I had a lovely lady, actually her mother is right here, Felicia and her sister, ended up putting together, I had an injury with glass, silly knee, I pushed it in the garbage and I hurt myself. And I was so close to beating my goal, and I started in October, November, December, and I wasn't completed. I had 800 and my hand was throbbing. So I ended up writing these letters. And again, people in the community were able to make sure that 1,000 letter mark was done. So Felicia and her sister wrote that remaining 140 or 150 remaining cards and handed them out to the police station, the fire departments, local stores, people on the streets, just to pass on, here, Merry Christmas. Hey, you are loved. And especially with this pandemic, when someone reached out, when someone mentioned to me that the only thing they got this year was a Christmas card, that's when you know there's problems. That's when you know there's some people in this world that don't have the support that I do or you do. And I think it's really important that we support each other and love each other, because at the end of the day, thank you. Thank you. At the end of the day, I think it's really important that we are there for each other. And just that little reminder of knowing that somebody didn't get nothing for Christmas, but they got a card, and they said that was more than enough. It made me look at my life a little more. The material items that I own, my friends, my family, to pay it forward. It costs $0 to be kind. And yes, it might have costed a lot in postage, but that doesn't matter. It literally costs $0 to be kind to one another. And you learn within time too, with the responses from people and how much it means just to be there, to be a friend. And with bullying and with mental health, we all have a story to share. And I'm just so grateful and so honored to be able to just share my story with all of you today. To even allow my voice to be heard. I still sometimes have days where I look at myself and go, ugh, what has happened to you? Because sometimes stress. We all have our good and bad days. And that is okay. I just never could imagine a world where I'd be able to have people come together, to have friends, to have that supportive base. And I think a lot of us need this. I really think we do. I started with nothing, and I felt like nothing. I made nothing into something. When I didn't believe in myself, it was you people that believed in me. When I told myself that when people told me I wasn't good enough and worth enough, I had you people telling me that I was worth it, that I did deserve a chance, and that I was loved. So I spend my waking days, every day that I wake up, responding to people on my messenger. I skim through to see what is important. If someone's having a bad day, that is my first thing that I do. I make sure that they're in a good place, in a safe place, and that if they're not, I'll do my best to be able to provide for them. I have learned, though, that I wish when I was younger, when I knew I needed help, when I knew I needed to reach out, that I would have just said, hey Mom, I'm going through some really tough stuff right now. And my mom always says too, Justin, I thought we were so close. Me and you were like best friends. I said, Mom, me and you are still best friends. It's just, when it comes to a parent and a child, sometimes we like to, everything's great, Mom. I am fine and dandy. And then I'd go upstairs and she would hear me crying. I remember her saying, hey, Just, is everything okay? And I said, yeah, Mom, everything's good. And she's just looking at me like, no, baby, everything's not good. And I'm like, yes, everything's good. But I can only keep that secret for so long. And I'll never forget the day that she pulled me in the house. And she goes, Justin, you left your computer open. I said, oh, did I, Mom? She's like, yeah, I have something to show you. And she was so serious. So I walk in and said, oh, Mom, what are you going to show me on the computer? Well, she has it all set up and everything. It was pretty cute. She goes, what's this? I said, what's what? She said, this. You're kissing a boy. And I said, yeah, Mom, I am. She goes, why didn't you tell me? I had to find out on the internet. I am so sorry, Mom. So I understand when my mom hears me saying when I feel like I was alone, and that I didn't have the support because I didn't have the confidence in myself to reach out to her on everything and being honest about what was happening in my life. There was kids in my neighborhood. I lived in an alleyway. So it's just like this. So an alleyway here and then the alleyway in the back. So my house was always a target for eggs. And kids always coming and kicking at my door. And my mom started sticking up for me. I think she's 4'3". She'd hop over a 10-foot fence and she was Mama Bear. And she always said, "Those are my cubs, I'm Mama Bear." And I always said, "Mom, you don't do that." I'm like, "They're getting a reaction out of you." And she goes, "No, Justin." She's like, "These people are going to leave our property and never come back." And that's when I realized that everything that was going on in my life, and then the fact that I allowed my parents to know what was going on, that it wasn't just affecting me, it was also affecting my mom too, because she knew that I was a great person. She knew that I was amazing, and that I was loved. And just the unfairness of being treated unfair for just being different. She said that she looked at me one day and said, "How can I turn my back on you? How can I not be okay with you being you when I brought you into this world?" And that's when I think it clicked that my mom was my number one supporter. And my partner and my mother-in-law, which I call her mom as well, she is mom. When she found out about my partner and I, we were in the closet for a year. That's his story to share. But we were in the closet for a year when I met him. And when he had the confidence to tell his mom that I want you to meet someone, and this was like a magical movie. It was Christmas Eve. I ended up meeting his whole family on Christmas Eve, from never knowing what they really looked like, how they sounded when they talked, always seeing pictures, them driving around the community and like ducking in cars going, no, they're there, and hiding, and me in my crop tops, and I was pumping gas, and she ended up seeing me and she went, "Who's your girlfriend?" I had nails, crop top, but little did they know after that, oh, it's Justin. But that bravery, that courage to be able to go to your parent to just say, "I am who I am. This is me." And when I walked into her home and was welcomed, was honored, I went back into high school going, "Oh no, doing this all over again. They might be a little homophobic. They might not really understand." I was really scared, that weird feelings that felt like I was coming out again. Hiding away from a little, keeping this big secret of this beautiful man that I absolutely love and adore, and these two children that we both raised together full time. A lot of people don't know that I'm a parent. A lot of people look at me as Justin, but I am a parent with two little girls. They are my world changers. Haley, you are amazing. You inspire me every day, and so does Taylor, wherever she is.
She's sleeping.
That's okay, honey. I know. I get it. You hear me talk all the time. But she has this thing called sharing is caring. Sharing is caring, she always says. And she always says, too, to fill her bucket with kindness. Because if you do not fill her bucket with kindness, you're called a bucket dipper. And I stopped and went, what? The things that these kids learn and they come up with in the most kindest way of saying it. So now it's like, okay, instead of me saying other things, I go, "You're just a bucket dipper." And I just move on, right? Because you want to fill everyone's bucket with kindness, with love. It's like the Powerpuff Girls. Spice and stuff and everything nice, right? But me being a parent is a full-time job. And with my partner and running this campaign, I thought that I would be doing this all alone. I tried very hard to just do this all by myself. And I realized that you cannot pour an empty glass if there's no water. You at least need to have your cup full before you can pour. Because if you don't have anything to give, you kind of stink. And I think it's really important to pause, to stop, and to ask for help. To say, I can't do this all by myself. And it's just like mental health. We feel like we're so overwhelmed, and we feel like no one gets it. They're not us. They're not living my life right now. But all of us have a story to share. We all have something that we can relate to. And again, asking for the word help is okay. And I'm saying that because I used to think, no, it's not. But it is okay to ask for help. I just to even, I mentioned this a couple times, just to be able to sit here and speak with all of you, to be able to have this opportunity to share is just so beautiful. To be able to just inspire people, to motivate people, to lift people up, to show each other that if I'm able to do this, so can you. Maybe not public speaking, but if you have a dream or a goal that you would like to achieve, go and chase it, because you will never know what you're capable of doing unless you try. It's like stories from a porch. You have a great concept and you turned it into life. And you advertise, both of you. I'm speaking to the camera.
We're behind it.
Yes. You give people the opportunity to be able to share their stories and be able to let their voices be heard. And I just think it's so beautiful. Chase your dreams. Believe in yourself, because you don't know what can happen if you don't try. And for all the times that when I first shared my story on YouTube in 2011, then starting Rise Against Bullying in 2012, I had news interviews, the news stations always contacted me then, and I never answered. I was so scared. There were so many opportunities that I turned away because I didn't love myself fully. I made sure that I could help so many people to the point that I wasn't actually helping myself too. And this is after 9 years. September will be 10, which is a decade, and I'm not saying how old I am, but 10 years will be my anniversary with Rise Against Bullying and our anniversary as a community. And I thank you. You just never know with your dreams and goals on what you can be unless you don't try and ask for help. And at the end of the day, I just want everyone to feel loved. I want everyone to feel supported. To anyone that feels like they are alone in this world or they need a friend, I am always here for you. I try very well to reply to all my emails, all my messages. But again, it's the word help. Can't do it all alone. One person can make a difference, but it takes us together to change the world. With Kids Help Phone, with the campaign, with just working in the community and volunteering, and even this pandemic this year, I have been participating in a Walk So Kids Can Talk. It's a marathon where you do a 5K walk at JC Park in St. Catharines. And I wanted to pay it forward to a charity that was once there for me. And I thought the first year, 5 years ago, I think it's 6 now, this pandemic kind of messed up my timeline. So about 6 years, I thought I had this idea of maybe if I can raise $20 that I'll be able to participate in this walk. And with that little goal, every single year, I've always been able to raise more than $1,000. In the past 6 years, I've raised over $6,000 for Kids Help Phone. Thank you. Woo! And I wanted to make sure that I was able to be able to help and support a charity that was once there for me. And after hearing so many stories, when I share my story with Kids Help Phone and how I reached out for help, it's important. I think it's very important, especially with crisis text. I never was that kid to raise my hand in class to ask for help. Or if they asked an answer, do you know what the answer is? I never raised my hand because I was so afraid that I would get it wrong. I lacked that confidence. I felt very dumb. And I tried really hard and pushed myself into trying to learn how to do an essay. I've never did an essay until I pushed myself in grade 12. I started involving myself into We to We, Brick by Brick campaign, getting involved with the special need department. I realized too, with the lack of love I was receiving in my school, that I needed to be in the special need department. Because when we went to Cosmo, everyone wanted to paint my nails and do my hair. But I went, here you are, Ashley. Here you are, Rebecca. Here you are, Jack. And then I was the last person that I got picked. But those kids, I remember just feeling so safe around me, feeling like I was guiding them in the hallway, and having that trust within teachers to be able to escort students to and from A to B. It made me into who I was, a caring and loving person. And at the end of the day, I am no bigger or better than anyone. I know I've probably said that a couple times, but I really am not bigger or better than anyone, but I am here for people. I am here for you. And I think if we all were to just stand together and support each other and shine light on each other, education is really important. And when we learn, we grow. When we make mistakes, that's how we learn from our mistakes and we move forward. We have to support each other, love each other, and create this love bunch of people. Unfortunately, with COVID, I'm so blessed. You guys are all spread out. We have people across the street over here, over there. But again, we're able to bring people together, and it feels so great just to be able to share and talk. I never believed in myself, but when people believed in me, I was able to believe in others. Even when I don't feel positive, a lot of you who watch my social media notice I post a lot of positive stuff. Everything has to do with positivity. I try to refrain from any negativity. And I think the best thing is, even when I'm feeling negative and I feel like today sucks, I go, today's a beautiful day. Even though I might have a very bad day at that moment and I'm not feeling what I am preaching, at the end of the day, someone reaches out to me and says, thank you so much for your positive post today. I really needed that. Today's been very tough. And that's what picks me up. When I talk about helping people, I talk about, you know how you need gas for your car for it to drive? Well, I make people happy by making people smile, seeing their sad situation and lifting them up from it. To me, that is gas. That is food for me to survive. This is the energy that I run on. And even if I'm not feeling at that time 100% positive, I make sure that I'm putting positive out in this world, because what you put out in this world, it comes back to you. And you just don't realize. You really don't. I'm just so honored to just sit here and be able to share my story with all of you today. With Kids Help Phone, with Rise Against Bullying, with the Letters by Justin campaign, with raising funds for Kids Help Phone, writing thousands of cards to people around the world, facing my fears of public speaking, because it's never an easy thing to do. I remember the first time I spoke, I was shaking. And the fact that I'm not shaking today after a year and 8 months, that's amazing. Because I was over my head going, oh no, I got this, I'm nervous, and that is okay. Because if I'm going to speak from my heart, that's all that matters. And I just want to say thank you to all of you. How are we doing?
You are at just over an hour.
Oh, I thought we were only 30 minutes. I talk a lot. That's awesome, though.
It's so fascinating. Such a wonderful story. Thank you for sharing.
I just want to say thank you to all of you for your support.
Thank you.
I love you very much, all of you. It takes us together, all of us together as a community, to make our community more stronger. For us to be able to come together, to not divide each other, but to support each other, love each other, and spread kindness. It costs $0 to be kind. And if anyone's listening, I usually do this, but in a count of 3, Can you guys say the words shine bright? So 1, 2, 3.
Shine bright!
Thank you all so much for your time, and I appreciate you.
I just want to say a great big thank you for sharing your story, for sharing your message tonight. What a powerful, powerful message you have to share. You are such an incredible person. I've known about you for a while. I've seen you around, and I've always been so, I've just admired you. And I am so grateful that we finally had an opportunity to meet.
It's a small world.
And to have you on my porch speaking. It's like a dream come true. I just absolutely love it. Thank you everyone for coming out tonight. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you everybody that watched online this evening. I would like to post the number for Kids Help Phone and the crisis number as well. I'll post it in the event as well as on the Porch Fest page. And do you have an email for e-transfer that I can also post if anybody that is out there in the ethers that wants to donate?
Or buy shirts.
Or buy t-shirts, Rise Against Bullying t-shirts. We can post that as well. Anybody that wants to donate to the Letters by Justin campaign, we've got a donation jar here. We can donate online. Anything else you'd like to add?
Thank you. You can check out www.riseagainstbullying.ca, and you can also check out my Facebook at Justin Preston as well. And thank you for being you, because you're shining light on so many people without even realizing, allowing my voice to be heard today. So I just really appreciate you. Thank you.
I appreciate you. You are radiant. You are sunshine. What a beautiful night.